speaking of the long term, so when we're talking about, I guess, the long-term financial stability of apartments, and whether there is like longevity in that, just to touch on that topic of when people are thinking, oh, whether that's actually going to grow in the market, what's the sort of opinion based on that?
I think that could be a whole nother video, Tash, to be honest. That really comes down to the location of the property, I think, or the location of the building, the quality of the building, but more importantly, who the building was built for, whether it was built for long-term occupation or whether it was built as a student accommodation kind of building, or whether the floor plans were, you know, the developer tried to build a product that was predominantly aimed at investors. Because the reality is, at the end of the day, and we talk about this all the time, which is, you know, a property has to do what it's meant to do, which is to be somebody's home. So if the spaces within the property don't work because they were built to be small, to be an investment stock or a student stock, but they don't furnish properly, the property, in our opinion, will never be any good, really. So that will limit or affect the future performance of that property. So the selection of the property is always, whether it's an apartment or a townhouse or a house, is vitally important. You know, we have examples of apartments that have, if they've been selected well, have increased in value more than homes in the same area and even within the same street. So it really depends on who the apartment was built for, the location of the apartment, whether it has an aspect. There are a whole range of things that really... Sorry, a truck's just about to drive by, so we'll
Keeping it in real time.
So there are a whole range of criteria, I guess, that will have an impact on whether a property or an apartment performs well over the long term. The other thing that I'd like to say about that, and I don't want to make the video too long, is another key facet of investing in an apartment is the change in demographics that we're seeing in Australia, or that we've seen in Australia. So I take a very long-term view of the property market. Not everybody's investing for the long term, but if you take a longer-term view and you look at our major cities, Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, the population in those cities is set to double or triple within the next kind of 30 years. And that means a whole range of things for the residents of those cities. So it obviously means more congestion on the roads, more travel, larger travel times. So properties that are located closer to the centre of the city, so predominantly apartments or terrace-style homes or townhouses, in my opinion, will become much more valuable because of their location and their proximity to the amenities and the job creation centres. So if you look at global cities like Rome or New York or London or Paris or Hong Kong, the most expensive properties in those cities, or I shouldn't say the most expensive properties, but the majority of properties that are in the centre of those cities are apartments or condominiums or whatever you want to call them, and they are typically the most expensive properties that are available because you can't buy a house on a block of land. So, you know, you can go further out of town and buy a terrace home or a brownstone or whatever it might be, and many of those properties, even if they're a few kilometres out of the centre of the cities, aren't as expensive as the actual apartments. So I think Australia's going through this transition at the moment. Not everybody agrees, and I know it's kind of controversial, but my personal opinion is that over time, well-selected larger apartments and properties that can work for long-term living will actually perform better.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. And I think it's good to keep in mind, again, you know, the amenities and having accessibilities become more of a desire for people, because the things like you said, congestion, traffic, having a car is actually, for me anyway, I get quite frustrated when I drive a car now because I'm not used to being in traffic. I actually enjoy catching the tram because I can read or I can drink my coffee, and it's actually a lot more peaceful. So it's good just to have those thoughts in mind when you're thinking about property and thinking about the long term of how things are going to perform.
Yeah, and so I just want to stop at that point for a quick second as well. The other thing is that an apartment's not going to suit everybody.
Of course, yeah.
So, like, it's not going to suit a young family, or a very young family, yes, but typically an apartment's not going to suit a family with a couple of children. They're going to want some additional space that most apartment living won't provide. So whilst, you know, I think apartments are going to perform well, they're not going to suit everybody for every stage of their life.
Yeah.
But, you know, a well-selected apartment will suit a lot of people in their younger, and certainly when they're older and downsizing again, and be able to lock up and go travel and have that access to all those amenities that you talk about.
Yeah, great. I think we'll cut it there just based on we don't want the video to be too long. But we always talk about like different, you know, articles and stuff. We talk about different aspects of apartments and apartment living, and also like new designs and new ideas that are coming out around that. So you can always stay in touch on our socials. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. But yeah, thanks very much again, Michael and Tash from Specific Property.
Thank you.